The MMO scene has been in rather dire straits for quite some time, once the king of genres, now relegated to a relic of the past. Now, a lot of good MMOs have come out in recent years, but what do you see when you look at the list to my side? That's right, you see the 5 MMOs that are on most people's top most excitable upcoming MMOs. The issue is, not one of these games is officially real. Yes, soft confirmations, job listings, them saying the game is coming or announcing, for example, the Riot MMO. They said that's what it is, it's coming, the Riot MMO, they've acknowledged it. But do we know the name of the MMO? Do we have a release date? No, you know what we do know? That it got rebooted rather recently. And the same thing can go for most of these MMOs. Lord of the Rings MMO, Amazon Games' upcoming supermassive MMO after the colossal failure of New World. Then we have Classic Plus right here. Super excited, super hyped. When? BlizzCon next year? Potentially. Then you have Guild Wars 3, which we only really ever found out about because guess what? At the NCSoft shareholder meeting, at that very hostile meeting where they were flaming each other because profits were low, they accidentally leaked it. Then at the very bottom we got Everquest 3. In the good year of 2025, Everquest is once again making another comeback. Will it actually succeed this time? Now, we're gonna start with Guild Wars 3, because I know a lot of people are waiting to skip towards the Riot MMO or Classic Plus, but let's start with another juggernaut of an IP that could have dominated the landscape, but it didn't. Now, Guild Wars 2 was a phenomenal MMO. Everybody was really hyped about it, they were excited about it, but horizontal progression, which is the big buzzword for Classic Plus and all these upcoming MMOs, did not hit the mark very well. If you hit this gear back in 2012, your gear is still relevant in 2025. And for a lot of people, that was a concerning feature if we're being real. But that wasn't Guild Wars 2's major issue. It had a whole other array of issues which the game has solved over the coming years, but Guild Wars 2 never really entered the mainframe as the WoW killer it could have potentially been. But Guild Wars 3, there's a big lull in the MMO scene if you think about it. You have WoW entering Midnight WoW, it's doing okay. Final Fantasy XIV just fell under 1 million subs for the first time, and Classic WoW is classic wowing all over the place. There is actual space for a good MMO to come in and dominate the slate. Now, if I look at this Excel list right in front of me, what do you see? You see a huge array of job listings. Starting since 2021 all the way to 2025, they've been hiring senior, executive, leads, all array of individuals for Guild Wars' upcoming project, well, ArenaNet's upcoming project. Now, they brought back the lead of the company from 2012 to 2016, and now he runs everything. We know Guild Wars 3 is coming. They didn't just hire this many people, write this many checks, hire this many employees to make Guild Wars 2 expansion. But I could be wrong. All of this information, all of these listings, all of these people, all of this could quite literally be for nothing. Is that likely? Absolutely not. And if it is, I'll eat a goddamn hat. But like I said, they've announced Guild Wars 3. It was an accident. But when you announce an MMO, and it's been in development for quite a few years at this point, everything points towards that game coming out. Hopefully soon. The average MMO takes 5 to 7 years, and Guild Wars 3 has been in development for, if we're being generous, 4 years. If we're being realistic, about 2.5 to 3 years. So what does this really mean? When can we expect Guild Wars 3, one of the 5 most exciting upcoming MMOs? The real answer? 2027 at the earliest, with the 2026 announcement. But the closer and more realistic answer is probably 2028, give or take. Now, keep in mind, this isn't a full reboot of a brand new team. This is them building up a studio to launch a game and develop faster. The key people are already there. So all this really tells me is that Guild Wars 3 is probably a lot closer to release than people want to give it credit. They're not starting with a brand new engine from the ground up. They're applying Unreal Engine 5 graphics, they're applying Unreal Engine 5 effects, but they're making everything in-house. This is an established team that has been around for quite some time. So, my expectation is 2026. But let me know in the comments down below, do you believe Guild Wars 3 is going to change anything? Or do you believe the MMO genre is absolutely, utterly cooked beyond recovery? Because the next game we're going to dive into is just as exciting as the Guild Wars franchise, but it's drastically bigger. The next MMO, unlike the other MMOs on this list, is the Riot MMO, and it's the biggest IP on the goddamn list. Not counting World of Warcraft 2, but let's be real, that game is very likely never going to happen because Blizzard would never potentially kill their big cash cow. Now actually WoW 2.0 might happen, but that'll happen after the last Titan, and that's not what this video is about. The Riot MMO, so hype, so amazing, so exciting. And it was a lot closer to release than a lot of people realize. Specifically because Ghostcrawler, who used to run World of Warcraft, for example Mr. Pandaria, before Ian Hazzikostas, had an almost finished product ready to ship in 2025. But he left Riot Games to go make his own MMO in his own studio. And the question here is why? And the answer is because he was making World of Warcraft a League of Legends. And Riot can't have that. Riot does not like sharing cash money with anybody. They can't be equal. They can't just be slightly better. They have to go into a niche, into an industry, and suffocate and dominate and restrict it, because Riot has to be the best. And no matter what they do, it's their motto of the game. Not necessarily the clients, the League client is absolute dog water, but that's a different story again. So that's why it got soft rebooted in 2024, because we can't just have WoW with a League of Legends skin on top of it. But it begs the question, when is this hypothetical, when is this potential Riot MMO going to release? Now, right here, we have an article by Massively Overpowered, and this is a big publication website. And they quote here, and I'm going to read out this quote. Riot has decided to reset the direction of the Riot MMORPG as team goes dark on the new boss. Why? Like I already said, it was too close to World of Warcraft. They're never going to admit that out loud, but let's be real here. Ghostcrawler's MMO, it was a World of Warcraft clone, but better, fixing all the issues with WoW. It was just going to be WoW 2, but League of Legends. And Riot could not stand for that. They could not stand to make a clone. They had to do it better, bigger, badder. Badder in the good way, not like badder as in worse. And this effectively pushed the Riot MMO from a 2025 release to about a 2027 to 2029 release. Depending on how severe the reset was, and everyone's kind of iffy on this, was it just a full gameplay reset, was it a full art reset, was it a full game reset, it could be 5+ years away. But unlike the others on this list, this game is actually real. They've spoken about it multiple times. Right here, we have the direct tweet from Mark Merrill, aka Riot Tryndamere, one of the co-founders of League of Legends, and one of the very high-ranking individuals at Riot. Now, reading his tweet, "Hey y'all, we know many of you are hungry for news about the Riot Games MMO project, and we really appreciate your patience and the incredible support you've shown us so far. I'm writing to update you today on where we're at. And before anyone panics, yes, we are still working on the game." He then proceeds to go into a lot more information, as you guys can see here, with all these follow-up tweets and information. Game's dark, game still coming, game real, game juicy, game good, but you must wait. And when you look at the cinematic masterpieces that Riot cooks up with their art team, these cinematic masterpieces for their yearly trailers, showcasing League of Legends hype, from champions such as Morgana and Kayle, to Pantheon, to Tryndamere, all these iconic champions getting some amazing screen time for some top tier cinematics. All this tells me is that the Riot MMO is going to be in good hands. You guys get hyped about a World of Warcraft expansion trailer? I know I do, but not so much about the latest one. Midnight WoW does look good, but come on, they kind of butchered the Blood Elves a little bit. Nonetheless, different video, different story. Imagine the Riot MMO trailer. Imagine a trailer dropping in 2027, 2028 with a cinematic masterpiece like this, showing Noxus, Demacia, Shurima, Ionia, showing all the big titty characters they've got to sell skins about. I can't wait to swipe my credit card, and I can't wait for you all to swipe your mother's credit card in-game, in the shop, to buy yourself a slutty transmog skin. We're all gooners, aren't we? Yes, we. All of us. Now we have Lord of the Rings Online, an amazing franchise that does not have as many good games as it really should. You have Lord of the Rings Online, the Lord of the Rings MMO. Now this is the old one. This one's almost 20 years old. I think it's over 20 years old at this point. And this MMO is top tier. The issue is it's 20 goddamn years old, and it's not as timeless as World of Warcraft could potentially have been. Now imagine this whole franchise rebooted under none other than the glorious overlord tech king Jeff Bezos. Now, nobody may like Jeff Bezos, that's fair, and the Amazon dev team, Amazon Game Studios, may have shit the bed with New World, but the Lord of the Rings IP and a brand new Lord of the Rings MMO could set the internet on fire. You cannot tell me that you're not excited about this absolute phenomenal IP being brought back to the screen, brought back to your PC screen, so you can buy stuff in an in-game cosmetic store. I know I can't wait to swipe. That is sarcasm. Please listen to me. That is sarcasm. I don't like swiping, but I kind of feel like gaming has gotten to the point where you have no choice but to swipe, because box price and subs, they're dead. No one cares. Now it's in-game swiping, mount, pet, transmog, everything else you can imagine. In-game power, in-game gold, resources. Swipe, 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 because I know you're in debt IRL. Time to be in debt in-game as well. I can't wait to owe a payment plan to Riot to fund my in-game house mortgage in League of Legends. Nonetheless, the Lord of the Rings Online, the Amazon version. Now right here, you guys can see that the Embracer Group and Amazon Game Studios came together, made a deal. They're working on the new MMO, Lord of the Rings franchise. This MMO very realistically start development mid-late 2022, early 2023. And from there, I would expect the game to take about another 3 years to really fully release, depending on the resources Amazon Game Studios is putting into this game. New World had 1 million concurrent peak players. It was a buy once, play forever game. I expect the Amazon MMO to follow the same trait here, the same trends. The Lord of the Rings MMO will be buy to play. Once you buy, you can play it forever, and the occasional DLC/expansion, which you buy for $20, $30 every 2 or 3 years. I expect the game to realistically come out around 2027 at the earliest, with a 2028 release date seeming semi-realistic, because they clearly abandoned New World to make a brand new MMO. Now I'm going to read this quote right here. An open world MMO adventure, the upcoming game takes place in J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth, featuring the beloved stories of The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings literary trilogy. Set in a persistent world, the new MMO is in the early stages of production, with the Amazon Games Orange County studio leading development. Amazon Games will publish the game globally for PC and consoles. Keep in mind that this deal was in works from, I want to say, late 2022 until early 2023, and it was struck, if my memory serves correctly, May 15, 2023, give or take. Now, that date was somewhat of an exaggeration. That's the date this article was published. So I don't know the exact date that they signed the paperwork to say they were working on a game together, but it doesn't really matter, because a new MMO is in the works, and it still doesn't exist aside from the fact that, hey, Amazon is working on a new MMO. What has happened to the genre? We used to have MMOs come out 2, 3, 4, 5 times a year, new MMOs constantly, and it turned out spending $200 million to make a game that will very likely never make its money back seems like a stupid financial decision. Who could have thought? I mean, fuck you billion-dollar corporations, give me a good MMO, god damn it. Now behind me, we have Everquest, the original trailer, because Everquest 3 is one of the remaining games on this list, and I'ma keep it a buck with all of you. Everquest 3, it's likely gonna get cancelled before it releases, because they have cancelled more Everquest MMOs than there are actually launched Everquest MMOs. Everquest 1, Everquest 2, let's count the cancelled Everquest MMOs. They cancelled Everquest 2 once, they cancelled Everquest 3, Everquest 3, Everquest 3, Everquest 3. They just cancelled Everquest too many times to really be a valid experience, so I'm going to keep my expectations low. I do hope we get an Everquest 3, because this game right here set the standard for the whole genre. WoW copied it, made it better, and solidified that base that everybody copied from. But this is the granddaddy of the MMO genre, and it deserves a comeback. It deserves some recognition. It deserves a little bit of love and a little bit of respect put on its name. Because right now, there is zero fucking respect being put on its name. Nobody gives a shit about Everquest. Now, right over here, we have a brand new position. Creative Director, Dark Paw Games. This job right here is for Everquest 3. Well, they never name it Everquest 3, but it's the studio behind Everquest, and guess what the experiences requirements listed are. Required experiences and skills: 1. 10 years of direct game development experience. 2. Proven success from previously released titles. Skip down a couple of trends here, and what does it say? Experience in developing MMO games, strong portfolio of work in current game engines, Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5. Those are 4 major traits. There's a bunch of other things here. You guys can pause and read it. And again, another article by Massively Overpowered. As you guys can see, they've been hiring quite a few people, quite a few positions, quite a few roles. They've been building up a team. Will it even be good? I don't know. But it's the Everquest IP. It's going to be pretty hard to fuck it up. But never say never. Today's corporate world. We're heading towards Cyberpunk 2077 slowly. And I don't know if I'm going to be Johnny Silverhand or Crackhead on number 72 on the streets in the corner. We'll find out in about 40 more years. Now, I'm sure you all remember this cinematic that was announced at BlizzCon. Back when they said, you think you do, but you don't. And then they said, we all have our favorite flavors of ice cream. Some people like vanilla. And then we got the Chromie trailer going all the way backwards, step by step by step, until we landed back in classic 2019. You all remember the hype, the energy, the excitement. I am a channel covering Classic Plus. It's a copium pipe dream. Like Narc before he nuked his channel and disappeared when Ashes of Creation turned out to be a pipe dream. Classic Plus is a game that everybody's excited for. I'm excited for. It's the future of horizontal progression MMOs that people have been clamoring for. What is horizontal progression? Buzzword. Nobody really knows. They just say they want a horizontal progression MMO, but they don't actually know what that really is or stands for. And right here, this is how I expect to feel. Ginormous, beautiful dwarf here, looking over the sunset and seeing Azeroth remastered once again in Unreal Engine 5 graphics, like one specific private server. You guys can see that classic logo. There isn't much to say about Classic Plus aside from that it is in the works. Season of Discovery ended. I've talked to the devs a few times. I've interviewed them. They've left comments. They've left teasers. They've been talking about this for quite some time. Classic Plus is in the works. Classic Plus is coming. We know it's coming. We 100% know it's coming. But when, where, why, how, that's what we don't know. And that's a lot of things we don't know. So when realistically is Classic Plus getting announced? When is it coming out? When is it going to be? The real answer? BlizzCon next year, 2026, December 12th to September 13th is when it's going to get announced. Release date likely November 2026 or sometime early 2027. There isn't much else to say. What is it going to look like? They're probably going to steal like a motherfucker from all the other MMOs they see, take the best features of the horizontal classic game types and archetypes and make it better. That's the goal. That's how Blizzard works. That's how Blizzard operates. Look at Dragonflying, stolen from Guild Wars. Look at WoW Housing, stolen from every other MMO and made better. Look at WoW most things. They steal a lot. They're good at stealing and then innovating upon them. That's one of Blizzard's key skills here. So, Classic Plus, the last of the 5 MMOs, is yet another MMO that does not exist, but is in everybody's top 5 most exciting upcoming MMOs. But let me know in the comments down below. What MMO are you looking forward to? What MMO are you excited to play? What MMO do you think is actually going to make it to launch as a released game? And out of these 5 MMOs that I announced and I talked about, which one do you think is coming out first? Now that we got that out the way, like and subscribe if you liked the video. If you hated it, understandable. Dislike and subscribe. Be a dedicated hater. Don't half-ass your hatred. Full-ass it. Just like I full-ass my hatred of Blizzard sometimes. Thank you all for watching. Ebbenhard out. Peace.